established in 1961 and still going strong.
Like, really? No. Shut up.
Radio Caribbean International. We are number one.
We're back! Vava Central! Music, the happenings, interviews, and all aspects of Carnival. Vava Central! Yeah! Vava Central! 8 to 9:30 a.m. Monday to Friday with Teddy Francis and Timothy. Vava Central beginning mid-19 on the Caribbean Sound. Sponsored by the Carnival Planning and Management Committee, the Carnival Music Management Committee, Harris Bates, the Computer Store, Quartz, Bringing Value Home, Grace, Tropical Rhythms Juices, and Fevrier Novelties. Vava Central, yeah!
But imagine, sometimes it's feeling like there's only 2 days in the week. Yesterday was Monday, and look at that Friday afternoon. So hear that. Do you have a talent or skill that you can turn into a business idea? Well, don't sleep on you, my youth. Get your business started today. The Youth Economy Agency will guide you. Provide funding. Yes, sister, provide funding. Plus training to run your business profitably. Yo, go online now to start living the St. Lucian dream. Just one click and boom, you're in business.
Good afternoon, beautiful people of St. Lucia. It's Thursday and we're live on Youth Unplugged on Radio Caribbean International 101.1 FM. I'm your host, Miguel Fevrier, and today I'm talking to a young innovator who's turning one of our Caribbean staples into something extraordinary. But before I introduce my guest, I'd just like to express my wishes of good luck to all those participating in the Junior Calypso competition this afternoon. I'm not sure if SMC is participating, but if they are, go SMC, go Anglican, and of course my daughter's school, Mondador Combined. And if SMC isn't there, go Convent. All right. So I'm joined by someone very real and brilliant, the CEO and founder of HP Harvest Limited, Mr. Hierland Peter. He's young, he's focused, and he's transforming breadfruit and mango into value-added products like freeze-dried mango bites and breadfruit balls. Yes, you heard right. Breadfruit balls. So stick around as we dive into the mind of a young agro-processor determined to leave his mark. Now, let me just get this mic out of the way. It's blocking his handsome and focused face. All right, so I think we're on, and Hierland, welcome to Youth Unplugged. It's wonderful to have you, and I'd just like to let the public know that this interview has been weeks in the making because we did touch base basically a month plus ago. Yeah. And you did agree, and you gave. He's so busy that he said, I cannot see you this week, next week, or the week after, but I'm going to be there on June 5th for sure. Yes. So, Hierland, tell us a little bit of yourself. Who is Hierland Peter outside of business?
Okay, so first off, before I begin, thank you for Youth Economy and for RCI for having me today. So, as indicated, Hierland Peter, I am someone who loves food, and this may be to no surprise to many people who know me personally, and that kind of drove my interest in entrepreneurship. You know, outside of entrepreneurship, I am someone who loves to work with people, love to collaborate, and love to just try new things, whether it's in the agro-processing space, whether it is in banking, and also I've had a love for theatre arts for a while now. Ooh. So I am someone who have a lot of interests, essentially.
Okay, and your background, where you're from, schools attended, etc., etc.
Okay, sure. So I attended high school, St. Mary's College, and then after that, attended Sir Arthur Lewis Community College and UE, University of West Indies, St. Augustine campus, where I focused on finance and management. Outside of that, my experience is in agro-processing and finance, and I have these two passions. So when they come together, it's something that can be very great.
All right. So what inspired you to, you did mention you love food, but what inspired you to get into agro-processing, and why breadfruit and mango in particular?
Sure. So I have always had an interest in agro-processing from the time I was a teenager. I realized that there were many items in St. Lucia, many root crops and fruits that weren't utilized. They would just, be walking and they would be falling on the road and it would not be utilized.
It's a common refrain here.
Yeah, and sometimes we would export it, and then the country they export it to, they would create a value-added product and simply just export it to us. So it had me thinking about things that we love in St. Lucia, one, and two, that there is a lack of consistent supply of. So that had me thinking, okay, we love breadfruit, wape. So it had me thinking, okay, I realized that it's a seasonal item. So then how do I then navigate the issue of availability? So I did some research on preservation methods and was able to find out about freeze drying. And I will talk about freeze drying later during the interview. So it's something that exists, a preservation method that exists, but we don't utilize it in St. Lucia. And basically, I felt it was necessary to have this freeze-dried breadfruit that people can utilize outside of St. Lucia, because breadfruit is a thing, it has a short shelf life. So if my product, you can easily go to the US with it, go to Canada, name it, and it will simply be in a package and you can consume it easily. In terms of mango, same sentiment, just fall and no one would utilize it. So it had me thinking of creating a snack, because the breadfruit freeze-dried item is something that you can incorporate it in your food, whether it would be breadfruit and saltfish, etc. But with the mango bites, it's a snack, and I felt it's a healthy snack, something organic that people can utilize no matter how old or young you are.
Okay, remind you folks that you can join the conversation. Any questions for Hierland, you could send it to our WhatsApp platform at 7240008, or any comments. And also you could join us on our Facebook page, the official page of Radio Caribbean International. Now, it's interesting you mentioned the freeze-dried breadfruit, because it's been over 25 years. The very first time I saw it in England, not freeze-dried. I've spoken about it the past 25 years. 25 plus years. I'm talking about, I saw from Jamaica canned breadfruit, and it originated from Jamaica. And I jumped. And even at that time, I was a teenager at that time, didn't even know that was possible at the time. I've always wondered why we haven't emulated something like that yet. Now, could you tell us when the idea of HP Harvest Limited came together, and what were some of the early challenges you faced when starting your business?
So this initially started in, I could say, about 4 years ago, and it has evolved so much to initially where I thought of, okay, I'm going to utilize plantain, because initially it wasn't always breadfruit. And then I basically outlined the pros of cons of plantain. I'm like, okay, no, this can't work. And then over time, I said, okay, breadfruit, you are the one. So I then selected breadfruit as it indicated, and I realized the need and the problems that we face and how it can be a solution, having the freeze-dried breadfruit. Now, in terms of your next question, as it relates to the challenges, thank you. One of the main challenges was actually getting the equipment, and it's pretty expensive to get freeze-dried, or freeze-dry essentially, because it's different from your standard dehydrator. People have this misconception that it's the same thing, but it's totally different. So fortunately, I was able to collaborate with many partners, whether it would be, in this instance, Youth Economy. I'm thankful for them and their support, and also the Barbano Cluster producers for giving me insight in terms of the different ways I can essentially ensure my business meets certain standards that's in line with St. Lucia Bureau standards, etc. So these were the key challenges: one, access to equipment and financing, and the know-how, because my focus has always been in finance. I've always been a finance man. Anyone who knows me, that's my thing.
So is that do you have a primary job in the finance industry?
So I do, but for this interview, I kind of want to focus on, the entrepreneurship side of it. So, essentially these were the challenges I faced, but thank you to, the Youth Economy and for God, essentially, for allowing me to navigate those challenges and to have HP Harvest Limited today.
Okay, so I was actually going to ask you another question, but since you did
Sure.
mention the Youth Economy Agency,
Yeah.
just tell me how you learned about them and what made you become a client.
Okay, sure. So it was about almost 2 years ago. I was essentially just scrolling on social media online, and I saw a post, and then I know that someone, mentioned the Youth Economy Agency to me, and that just piqued my interest because you kind of need the support for small businesses. Even though they give you the money, that's great, but you kind of need someone to kind of hold your hands throughout the process. So that's where Youth Economy came in. So fortunately, I reached out, and the CEO was, and by extension, his team, they were very eager to hear about my idea because it was something.
Like Brian. That sounds like Brian.
It was something, it was something new in the St. Lucian context. When I told them that the shelf life of the breadfruit it easily can exceed 1 year. That's not something you hear about. So they were really excited, really supportive. I was able to participate in quite a bit of workshops from day one till today. So that's something I'm really happy about.
Wonderful. And the workshops, of course, include some of the workshops that you've attended. What areas did they focus on?
So it's interesting you asked that. I'm actually participating in one of the workshops that they recommended, which would be focusing on business continuity, to basically navigate the risks that you may be exposed to when you have your business. So for instance, a hurricane hits your business. How do you navigate that? Let's say another risk is consistent supply from your farmers. How do you navigate that?
And that's another common risk.
Yeah, and a very unfortunate percentage or finding that was communicated to me during that same training is that 40% of businesses who get exposed to natural disasters, they are unable or rather 40% are the only percentage are able to start up after the hurricane has impacted them. So that leaves 60% that have to shut down. So that had me thinking and understanding the importance of business continuity and the importance of basically mitigating risks.
Okay. Well, of course, do you intend on passing that knowledge on to your suppliers? Obviously, because in that supply chain, their knowledge of the risks of mitigating the risks associated with the natural disasters in particular will be important to the survival of both yours and their business. So do you?
Indeed, actually. And it's once again interesting that you mentioned that part of the program, the business continuity planning program that I'm part of right now, they also mention that sometimes your suppliers themselves need to have a business continuity plan because, as you indicated, if I'm depending on my breadfruit supplier or my mango supplier and they're hit by a hurricane and they run out of business, consequently, it impacts me and there's a domino effect. So my intention is basically to contact my key suppliers and have an open and honest discussion with them. Like, hey, have you ever considered doing a business continuity plan, or in the acronym BCP? So that can have them thinking and plan, especially we're basically in the hurricane season. So it's very relatable and appropriate to have these discussions. So to answer your question, yeah, I do intend to have this honest discussion with my suppliers.
I'm going to ask you this question because but what do you think makes your processing methods or your products different from what's already on the market? You did mention the freeze dry, but I would assume since you did consult the agro processors in Barbono, they would probably be one of those who do have that method. But what makes you different? What would you say makes you stand out?
So actually, I am the only agro processing company that provides freeze dried items in St. Lucia.
Ooh, let's hear it. Let's hear it, yeah, man.
So instantly that differentiates me from potential competitors. Now, in terms of, let me just add a bit of information on what freeze drying is, because people hear me use this terminology and have no clue what it is. So essentially, in layman's term, freeze drying is moving the moisture from any product through a process called sublimation, and it only, as it says, freeze drying. It won't use heat compared to your traditional dehydrator that uses heat. Now, what's the benefit of using a freeze dryer? Well, one, the nutritional value is kept. compared to a dehydrated product. You taste it and it's just horrible. In addition to that, the shelf life is extended, and there is no company in St. Lucia where you can easily get freeze-dried breadfruit. And our product lasts between 1 year and 18 months. So for me to give you some more information on what this product is, the freeze-dried breadfruit, let's say, as indicated earlier, you want your breadfruit and saltfish. All you need to do is take your breadfruit, the breadfruit slices that's nicely packaged, and disclaimer, there's no need for a refrigerator to have this item. You put it in a bowl and you add water. You wait about maximum 10 minutes and you have your breadfruit fresh and ready to go.
Ready to cook.
Ready to eat.
To eat.
Ready to eat.
Amazing.
So it instantly skips the process of peeling the breadfruit, removing the heart or the core, and then slicing it, and then putting it in a pan to boil, and then wait a cool 20 minutes. You don't have to do that.
Folks, you heard this? You know, this could well be, as we mentioned, the hurricane season, this could well be part of our supplies or emergency non-perishable items supplies during the hurricane season. Before we even get to the show, let's put in your social media handles so that people can get it. But let me just say hello to two of our viewers right now. Sharpski, so Pebbles, good afternoon to you. And because Steve Melius, good afternoon to you. Now we're about to put Instagram.
So it is HP Harvest.
Hold on. Oh shoot! They've changed the. And now I have two mouses, and he wants to work with. Okay, so Instagram. Let's go. So we call it out for those listening at home as well.
So HP Harvest Ltd.
HP Harvest
Ltd.
That's on Instagram, right?
That's the username, or you can simply just search HP Harvest Ltd on Instagram. We only have Instagram at this point in time. We think that's the only one that would be appropriate right now, given we've just started. And disclaimer to listeners, the intention is to have this item ready for consumers by the end of July. So we're doing some promo so that we can sensitize persons and ensure that they are aware of our product and what freeze drying is, because it is new in the St. Lucian context. So we basically taking things step by step. So by end July, you'll be able to reach out to HP Harvest Limited and get your freeze-dried breadfruit, your breadfruit balls, and your mango bites.
Of course, we have no samples at the moment. I love food too.
So you'll coordinate for sure.
You know, Yasma, you've done the best so far. You brought me banana bread, so I'm still waiting on my other clients. Our other interviews to bring us. All right, so we've been there. Okay, there you go. What's the one thing you wish more young people understood about agriculture and agro-processing? And considering, I'm going to put it in context, considering your background is finance, and obvious, the average person, maybe the view has begun to change now, but someone like you, went to St. Mary's College, went to university, did finance, and the area of agriculture and agro-processing is not the view, just like what we call them, the vocational areas. They don't have that. They're not seen as top tier as with a not traditional lawyer, doctor, banker, that kind of thing. What is the one thing you wish that the young people understand?
So there's this misconception that persons who are in agriculture and agro-processing, they don't make a lot of money, which is inaccurate. So for instance, in the US context, there is Tyson Foods, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. So what I really want to communicate to young listeners and persons who want to go in that area, that there is a lot of potential for growth, and that you don't need to slave around every day and be working so hard to make ends meet. It's actually not like that at all. And there is really potential for growth in this area. And there also are opportunities for collaboration outside of St. Lucia as well. So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I really urge young persons to join this movement to be part of the agro-processing and agriculture sector.
You know the evidence is clear right here on our supermarket shelves, because when you look at the sweet tamarind, at one point we were getting from Trinidad, now we're getting from somewhere in Asia. agro-processed products are all around us. It's just that we prefer the brand names, but then when we have our very own creating. So, folks, I implore you to give HP Harvest Limited, when he launches, give Hierland all the support that he could get. Now, our final question in this part, before we get to the rapid fire question segment. What's next for HP Harvest Limited? Any exciting developments? I think you did start to say that you'll be launching your product soon. Could you just tell us more about it and where you see yourself and your business, let's say, within the minimum next 5 years?
Okay, so I have big plans for HP Harvest, and it's good that being in the finance industry, I understand the importance of equity financing and ensuring that I can share the wealth of HP Harvest. So in short, the intention is to be listed on a stock exchange, Eastern Caribbean Stock Exchange, in the next 5 years. That's a big move because paid-in capital is about $1 million, i.e. you must have quite a bit of capital already just to get listed on the stock exchange. But the benefits outweigh the cons. So these are one of the main goals that I have in the next 5 years. And in addition to that, to really collaborate, because I feel like in St. Lucia we don't collaborate enough. And the reality is the population of St. Lucia is just 180,000. Outside of St. Lucia there is so much more, and we can do more, but if we work together. So I want to collaborate more and ensure that I'm listed on that Eastern Caribbean Stock Exchange in the next 5 years.
All right. And interesting that in case you didn't know, in my old life in the news, there's one figure that really stuck out at me, and that was in 2014, 2015, when it was stated that, and it's much more now, but our CARICOM, collectively, our food import bill collectively was $6 billion US.
I'm surprised.
$6 billion US dollars. So I initiatives like yours, and like you mentioned, the opportunities for collaboration, not only within St. Lucia but within our general space, Caribbean space, they are endless, and that itself is a surefire way of, at least in some way, reducing our food import bill. Maybe not locally, but on a regional level where we have that interdependence on each other. So good job, my brother. Yeah. All right, so folks, you are watching.
Before you move to the rapid question segment, I just want to add one thing. I was watching and this is so relevant. So I was watching this video on TikTok, and there was this young lady who wanted to bring breadfruit to a family member in the US. So she, went through the process of, peeling and, roasting the breadfruit, wrapping it up in plastic, and then passing through immigration, the entire process. And I'm like, this really shows the importance of my product. She doesn't have to do half of that. All she needs to do, go to the supermarket or come to HP Harvest when it's released and just easily just get that item. So I just wanted to really put that out there, that you don't have to do that anymore. HP Harvest is there to save you.
You mentioned this. I think I'm recalling my young days. My grandmother, especially around this time, because mangoes would be in full season. Plums. My grandma would have boxes of mangoes and stuff sending over to Canada, to the US, to my uncles and aunts, and England to my aunts in there. So the importance, because when you go up there, especially if you're from the Caribbean, you go up there, you don't get these. When my uncle studied at Barbados at UWI in the 80s, he couldn't buy dashing and yam in Barbados in the market. Grandmother had to send these things up. So again, good job. Let me just take in some of the comments. We have Cherry Emmanuel. She says, well done. Well done. And I agree with you, Cherry. Folks, you are watching Youth Unplugged, the voice of millennials, where we highlight the successes, the progress of our young people who are making strides in their respective areas of endeavor, whether it be music, the arts, agriculture, education, academics, everything. We're there to highlight your successes. Youth Unplugged is sponsored by the Youth Economy Agency. We're going to take a short break, then get back to our final segment with Hierland Peter, which is the rapid fire question segment. Stay tuned.
But imagine, sometimes it's feeling like there's only 2 days in the week. Yesterday was Monday, and look at that Friday afternoon. So hear that. Do you have a talent or skill that you can turn into a business idea? Well, don't sleep on you, my youth. Get your business started today. The Youth Economy Agency will guide you. Provide funding. Yes, sister, provide funding. Plus training to run your business profitably. Yo, go online now to start living the St. Lucian dream. Just one click and boom, you're in business.
Folks, it's always great to see young people making strides in their various fields of endeavor. And I told someone just this morning when I was saying that I had to head over to RCI to host this show. And I say it very often on this show. I'm very mad at the Prime Minister and the government of St. Lucia. And you, Honorable Wayne Gerard, because this thing is late. I wish I were. Where was the Youth Economy Agency when I was youth? But of course, folks, those of you who have passed that threshold, remember that there's also the MSME loan grant facility, which is available for those who are not youth, but who are small business owners and who need that type of assistance and training in order to advance their businesses. Now, as we come up the final few minutes of the show, it's a rapid fire segment where we answer we ask questions and there's no time for things. You just answer whatever comes to the top of your head. Yeah?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, first one. Breadfruit or mango, if you had to choose only one?
Ooh, mangoes.
Why?
Yeah. Just it tastes so good. I don't know. But I also love breadfruit too, but I have a slight bias towards mango, to be honest. And I feel like, although both of them versatile, mango's sweet. So
mango's got more variety as well.
And that too, to be fair. So yeah, mango.
Yeah. All right, I'm a breadfruit. I love my breadfruit pies. I love to make breadfruit pies. All right, freeze dried or fresh?
Ooh, now
Bias
bias is honesty is best policy. Fresh, but freeze dried is close enough.
It is.
It's close enough. Like 97% nutritional value is kept for freeze dried.
And freeze dried put some money in your pocket.
Yes, sir.
And also, of course, freeze dried will last longer freeze dried than if it were fresh, would it?
Correct. Is right. Yeah.
There you go. So you have the whole preservative aspect of it.
Yeah.
Fine. Early mornings or late nights, and why?
Early mornings. I'm just a morning guy. I feel like the best ideas come to me in the morning. Up at the night, I kind of just want to relax and do absolutely nothing.
And so much of the day is on your mind.
Yeah, but in the morning, fresh, and I'll get up like every morning by like 5:30 every morning, no matter.
That's late, man.
Really?
I'm
5:30 a.m.
I'm quarter past 4. No matter what time I go to bed.
Saturday, yeah, really
quarter past 4. But you know what? I'm a morning guy. So that's why I find my mind is most fresh, and I wish I could capitalize on that more by getting more organ. But you sound like a top or what? All right, business suit or field gear?
Business suit. I don't know. I'm one of those, but although like I like to do both when appropriate. I feel like every occasion would require different, wear, essentially. But I have a slight bias towards the business suit, I must admit.
Yeah, you look kind of like that. Kind of like that guy.
Come on.
And then you come tell me, hey, I freeze dry breadfruit for a living. I say, nah, come on. All right. If you can export one of your products to any country right now, where would it be?
So, I would export my freeze-dried breadfruit to Hawaii. Why? Because there is actually a demand where many persons would utilize breadfruit. They call it ulu, U-L-U, in Hawaii. But the thing is, they don't really capitalize on freeze-drying. So they just wait on when the breadfruit is available. Okay. So I can easily see my product reaching that market and it being utilized on a level that makes financial sense.
All right. Now, before we even continue, saying good afternoon to Solas James, always tune into RCI. And Philip Philo says, hey, what's up? I am listening from Canada.
Cool.
I strongly believe this would be great here. Just yesterday, I was talking to a friend about half-ripe breadfruit and stewed chicken backs. All right. Someone said, Leah Katie Tillbert says, listening from St. Kitts, well done, HP, great initiative. Think outside of St. Lucia as well. And if you just tuned in, then you would have missed him saying that there's a lot of space for collaboration outside of St. Lucia. And I think that's the main goal as well, to export, get that foreign exchange. All right. If there's no more comments for now, we'll get the next question is, One thing you can't live without.
Ooh, one thing. I feel like watermelon. I don't know. I know it's odd, but I just love
You
watermelon.
must be a Rodney boy. Watermelon.
I
yeah.
don't know why. Like I'll just go to the supermarket and just buy it every day. You know what I mean?
I'm a cantaloupe guy. When they do these fruit bowls, I go after pineapple, maybe grapes, cantaloupe. I leave watermelon alone. I don't like it. Something about it I don't like. I eat watermelon. I chew watermelon gum though. Watermelon. What? Just you don't know what about it.
I don't know. It just tastes so good. I don't know, but I just love watermelon.
It's to each his own. One word to describe your journey so far.
Bittersweet. Although that's 2 words, but
That's one word.
Yeah. Bittersweet. So we getting to the sweet part. The bitter was like, oh my God, this is hard. This is challenging. It's time consuming. But the sweet, like, okay, I'm seeing the reward so far of the effort I've put in. I'm seeing that things are starting to come together. So I'm excited about this journey essentially.
Well, let me remind you, you still have bitter days ahead.
Yeah, that's the reality. But it's getting to the
it's,
sweet part.
But
So
you're
it's
a
like
finance guy,
cycle,
so you know that.
Exactly.
You know that. It'll always be hunky dory. All right. So, folks, this has been Youth Unplugged, but I'm also going to give my guest who was so interesting, and the time just always goes by so quickly. We're already tiefing some Maureen time. Anything that you like to add? Any final thoughts? And of course, give a bit of promotion as to when you'll be launching your product and everything, if you're able to.
So final thoughts. As indicated, I really want persons in the industry to kind of work together, collaborate more to really get us to the next level, and to just reiterate that I want persons to go to my Instagram page, HP Harvest Ltd. And they can follow and wait for more information on the products. In terms of when they will be launched, will be end of July. And I can assure you that it's something that's unique, something that people can enjoy, and something that would really have a positive impression or leave a positive impression.
July is a good time, that's Carnival
and
launch,
food,
and
one
that's
time.
my birthday, right? And also it's right, and funny enough, and if we want to think outside the box, it's just ahead of Emancipation Day, which is a good point because we are trying to be more self-sufficient in this part of the world. Now before we go, we have one more good idea. Natalie Mata says a very good idea, especially for our elderly, and to think of it babies, quick and easy. I think she's referring to the freeze-dried breadfruit.
Yeah.
So just pour water. That's
it. Just pour hot water, and that's it.
Just think of those infomercials. Yeah, just pour water. All right. So, Hierland, it was really wonderful having you.
Sure.
It was a very interesting conversation. And, folks, this has been Youth Unplugged with me, Miguel Fevrier, and my guest, Hierland Peter. When I call him, I said Ellen because it's actually spelled the word air. And Ellen, but it's
Hierland, yeah.
Hierland. So you actually pronounce the H. Hierland. I like Hierland though. Anyway, of HP Harvest Limited, his main products are freeze-dried breadfruit and mangoes.
And breadfruit balls.
Breadfruit balls. Yeah, we even forgot the breadfruit balls. We even get to that.
Time.
But I think the freeze-dried breadfruit was even more fascinating because you get breadfruit balls everywhere. Anyway, so I'm hoping that Junequeol, you'll have some of your stuff.
Oh
to
yeah,
be
for
sampled.
sure.
All right, folks. So I shall see you this Sunday, of course, for Golden Grooves, your trip down memory lane, and of course back next Wednesday for Letla. So for now, the Youth Economy Agency is our sponsor of Youth Unplugged. You'll hear from them, and I shall see you on the weekend. Goodbye.
But imagine, sometimes it's feeling like there's only 2 days in the week. Yesterday was Monday, and look at that.